But James, when you came back from Swamiji and you got what you wanted, how did you spend your time? I noticed there's a picture of you.
It's not a very good picture. I should Photoshop it, but I should Photoshop it a little bit. No, I had an ashram in California, and I gave a satsang every day at a chant. We chanted every day and had satsang every day. We ate together. There were about 10 of us living in this upscale house in Seacliff area in San Francisco. So that's a picture there. I still have this Buddha, by the way. I have that Buddha here in Spain. Buddha, I got, it's another story, really interesting story, but I got it from the estate of a merchant seaman who traveled in Thailand and India and so forth and so on. And I think that's Swamiji's picture up above. Yeah, it is, isn't it? So, you know, I never pretended that I was anything special. There was always, you always have the Guru's picture above you to symbolize that you're devoted to the teaching tradition. So that was there.
And did Swamiji ever visit this place?
No, he didn't. I would visit him when he came to California.
Oh. And then
he was too busy.
When this episode ended,
yeah,
you went to your cabin, right?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, after when I left California, and also before, when I was traveling in India. In India, I would spend 6 months in India, and then or maybe sometimes 7 or 8. But I always came here in the summer when the snow had melted and I could get across the river. There's a big river over here in front of it, and I lived in this cabin. And you know, I had I don't think there's a picture of that's the doorway, but we had a refrigerator here, and the bears used to come and knock over the refrigerator to get at my fish. Eventually I had to put the refrigerator inside, and we had deer all the time, deer wandering around here. We had a lot of bears and elk, big elk. Moose used to come and drink it, and there's a little stream here, had drinking water coming here out of a mossy log, and it was a really, really beautiful place, and there was no people. I went 21 days there without seeing any people. Although occasionally you'd hear on the river somebody floating by, a fisherman floating by or something like that. But yeah, that was my family cabin. There was another little cabin over here. So that was our family cabin. We had that in our family for 50 years. And when the lease was up there, I left there.
And then you spent your summers
that's yeah.
in India as a young.
Yeah, people see that picture and they say, "Who's that?" You know, that was me when I was seeking. I was a hippie seeker. That was before I met Swami Chinmaya.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, before I met Swami Chinmaya, that was how I looked.
Yeah, there's some Shakti when I look at the face.
Yeah. Oh, I've always had a lot of energy. Some, you know, I just had that combination of gunas, but these are friends and good friends of mine, and they went to the Swami Dayananda's ashram and did that 3-year course there. Yeah. Yeah, these are friends also. This is these are all good friends of mine. I've forgotten this woman's name. I didn't know her very well. This was a very good friend of mine. And this was also a very good friend of mine. Here we are at the foothills of the Himalayas. The Himalayas are in the background.
Mm-hmm.
And it was in a place called, what was it called? I can't remember. It's about Rishikesh. You have to drive in a taxi about 45 minutes up, just uphill out of the foothills. And then when you get to the top of the foothills, you see the Himalayan range stretched out for 100 miles long. It's very impressive.
Mm-hmm.
So. Oh, this one, yeah. That was again Sadhu thing. That was when I was just wandering around. And there I'm sitting at a rock. Shravanabila Gola. That's a Jain pilgrimage center. And right back here, there's a great statue. I think you got a picture of it there somewhere. Look for it. You'll see what India's like. There it is.
I'm not sure.
How you get it?
Yeah, here maybe.
No, there you go. Is that it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's called Bahubali. And see, look at the scale of this. This is carved out of solid rock. In other words, they removed the whole mountain, a solid piece of rock, and left the temple and this guy inside. Inside, which was inside the rock, is now outside.
Mm.
And then down here, they're all worshiping, and these are Jains. Jain was a kind of, it's similar to Buddhism. Actually, they had Jains and the Buddhists. The Jains evolved out of Buddhism, or Buddhism evolved out of Jainism. That they were yogis and ascetics. The Buddha was an ascetic.
And here the plants are coming out and it's going around his legs.
Yeah.
And then around his arms.
Yeah, absolutely. It's
funny.
growing out of the earth. And he's called a Tirthankar. And so that means these are a group of enlightened people who, by virtue of some extraordinary thing, they became deities.
Mm. It's almost has a Greek style because he's naked.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's typical for Greek art.
Yeah, it is.
Mm.
That's a really impressive place. And energy is very good. And then that town, you can't buy meat or alcohol or anything like that.
Mm.
It's a completely purified environment.
So
India is full of that. So, that was what I really appreciated about India more than anything, was the countryside.
Mm-hmm.
When you got to the cities and the towns and stuff, it was always, I loved them too, up to a point, but the noise and the confusion, and particularly the noise. And then the pollution wasn't so bad then. You could still drink the water some places, but now it's just hopeless. There's just, there's 1.3 billion Indians. Maybe there's more Indians than there's Chinese now. The water, you can't drink the water. You can't breathe the air. It's so totally disgustingly polluted. The noise pollution drive you crazy. Mm-hmm. And it's just difficult, just extremely difficult to move around like I did now. You really can't do that, not a Westerner. Although the sadhus still do it, and that way of life is still way out there, hidden away. But it's not obvious anymore. Sometimes in those days, you'd see these naked ascetics look like Bahubali with nothing, wearing nothing, just walking around, or just walking through a marketplace somewhere, or whatever it was.
Mm. And here on this picture, you are wandering around. Did you do some touristic?
No. I was on my own. I wandered around.
That must be the early 90s.
I think I had a friend with me then who took that picture.
Mm.
A gentleman from the States. Yeah, I think that he came. I would take people too, who had a spiritual inclination, but who were suffering in some kind of way, and introduce them to India, hoping that maybe that spirit would get into them and they'd pursue a spiritual life.
Mm.
So it was like that.
Okay.
Okay.